All right. Thanks for joining us back again. This is a special edition of our Freedom Corner podcast with the Mississippi Freedom Caucus. I'm your host, Stephen Utroska. Got with me today Representative Dana Criswell, who is the chairman of the Mississippi Freedom Caucus. Dana, there are a lot of things happening right now in Jackson, certainly unexpected things that came up starting on Monday that we didn't have any clue about. Certainly the rank and file members of the legislature had no clue about what was going on. And so you got basically a press release, really just from the newspapers coming out saying, hey, there's going to be a special session on Wednesday. And here we are on Wednesday and still really have very little information about why we're here, except for there's a big government handout that the state of Mississippi wants to give to a business.
Yeah, I had all kind of plans for this week. I had the week off from my real job and was planning on doing some yard work and some cutting some trees and all kind of fun stuff. But instead, I'm here seeing how much money we can give away in a 24-hour period. It's like a game show.
Yeah. And so, of course, we haven't seen the bill yet. Here we are. You're about to go in session. So you guys will go in at 10 a.m. So it's 45 minutes from now, which we're just a block away from the Capitol here at the Mississippi Freedom Caucus's office. But we haven't seen the bill, so really don't know how much of a giveaway. But the rumors are it's about $240 million that the state's about to give away.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a shame of the whole system that's developed there is that I've learned more from media than I have from any kind of leadership in the legislature. So we really don't know. I mean, the citizens know as much as I do.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the way this usually works is that we're going to have about an hour meeting. They're going to give us the high points. They're going to hand us out something. And then they're going to say at that end of that meeting, they're going to say, we need to show of hands. Everybody that's going to support this. And it's just not the way government's supposed to work.
Right.
When this happens in DC, we all get just furious. And how dare they have a bill that they didn't read? And then today we all rush into town, and that's exactly what it is. Even the governor has said he hopes we can get this in one day. They've got it all covered. Don't worry about it. Just trust them.
Yeah. Yeah. Just trust your leadership. Don't worry about what's in the bill. Just get in line, shut your mouth, and vote how we tell you to vote. But that's not how it should be. And the people of Mississippi should, whether they support economic development, giving big businesses, corporate welfare, whether they support that or not, the people of Mississippi should be outraged over this, that their representation, their representatives and senators are not having time to read the bill, to understand what it is. We don't even know who the company is. Now we certainly have some indication of who it is, which is Steel Dynamics and a partner, Amium, which we've got a lot we can say about those that we've basically understood in the last 24 hours what we have found out about those companies, that they're a woke company, that they are in line with the Paris Climate Accord. They support the UN's global climate initiative. They do all these things. They want to do away with fossil fuels. They want to do away with the fossil fuel industry, which oil and gas in Mississippi, I've got a lot of friends that work in the oil and gas industry. They're a company that supports eliminating that. I mean, there's a lot of things that we have found out in the last 24 hours. But if it wasn't for basically media finding out what this is, not because you guys have read the bill, but because we have found out who this company is and things about them, otherwise you would have shown up, had no way to vet the company, have no way to know how this company is going to use the money, what they're going to do with it, and who they are, that we're about to give $240 million of taxpayer money. This is not some government grant they got from somewhere else. This isn't just made up money. They can't print money out. This is Mississippians' money that was taken out of their pocket and now going to give to big businesses. But all the while, we as Republicans support free markets, and we don't want to support winners and losers, right? Yeah. We're not picking winners and losers, but we're about to give this out of state international billion-dollar company $240 million to locate here. And, we're crushing our small businesses while doing so.
Well, if you read the Republican platform, if you listen to every Republican when we campaign, we say small business is the engine that drives our economy. We say that over and over and over, that we are for the little guy. We're for that small business, that guy that's opened up, has got 3 or 4, 5, 10 employees. We're for them, and we want to make it right for them. And then what we do is we take their money. We're not lowering their taxes.
Right.
We're going to lower the taxes of this huge, large corporation who's going to come in and then take their employees away from them. I've had calls from small business owners in the area, in the Columbus area, who have said exactly that. And they said, other small business owners are talking about this,
Yeah.
that they know that if you pull 1,000 employees out of their employee pool in that county, then they're hurting. They're already hurting for
Yep.
employees. I know just Domino's can't get pizzas delivered fast enough when we order them every Tuesday night because they can't get employees. But now then you take those employees away from those small businesses.
Yeah.
And what are they going to do? They're going to have to either raise their what they're paying, which they can't afford to do at this point, or they're just going to go out of business because they can't provide the service that they're trying to provide.
Right. Yeah. Well, so first, there's not transparency in the process. They haven't told you what's in it. They want you to vote for it. You also haven't been able to fully vet the company, know nothing about them, and there hasn't been time to study what are the economic impacts of giving $240 million to this big corporation, and what is it going to do to small businesses. And like you said, they have a small pool of people they're trying to pull employees from now anyways. And so now you get this big corporation who's getting money to subsidize their subsidize their salaries that they're paying their employees, because we're basically, the state of Mississippi is giving $240,000 per employee they are bringing in or created $240,000 per job they create. So that means this company can basically subsidize, they're saying, which we don't have any data to verify this, but they're saying the average salary of these 1,000 employees they're saying they're going to bring in is $93,000. So if you're paying $93,000 for your average employee, but you're subsidized by the state government $240,000 per employee that you bring in, then you can pay them really high salaries, and you're drawing that workforce away from small businesses who can't compete. There's no small business out there that can pay all his employees an average of $93,000 a year, or very few small businesses
certainly
can.
Not if they're not getting a cut in their taxes.
Right. And the small businesses that are currently paying taxes are the ones subsidizing, this big business now. So the government's just making it unfair.
And the truth is that if we all believe that we have to reduce the taxes, if we have to reduce the franchise tax, if we have to reduce the income tax, the employment tax, if we have to reduce that to get a business to come in, it means we are admitting that our taxes are too high,
right?
That our tax structure is bad for business. But apparently we don't care about the little small mom and pop businesses. We don't care about them. They're stuck here because they live here, they're from here, they're stuck here. So who cares? Let's soak them. But we want to get in this big business. And the truth is, for politicians, you bring in this big business, you get a big ribbon cutting, and you all get to stand there and with some big, high paid executive, so you feel important, and you get the big scissors and you cut and you do a ribbon cutting.
Yep.
We leave the little businesses to the mayors. That's just for the mayors. We let them do those little businesses, but they're the ones that we're supposed to care about the most.
Right. Yeah. And you said this earlier, that small businesses are the heartbeat, to not only Mississippi, but America. But the government in Mississippi, our leaders right now are basically saying, hey, we're going to support these out of state, billion-dollar corporations to come in because they're bringing 1,000 jobs, and we're going to give them $240,000 per job they create. But you little guys, you don't get anything. What you do get are high taxes, so that we can subsidize these big companies.
One of the things that I've proposed is to say, okay, let's give that company that tax break. Let's draw a 50-mile ring around that company, and every business in that 50-mile ring gets the exact same tax break.
Yep.
Well, they don't want to do that because,
Right.
Oh no, we can't afford that. Well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You can't afford to give the small businesses the same break. Well, why not? Why not draw a 50-mile ring around there and say, okay, we're going to level the playing field. That's the big,
right.
That's what we always hear.
Yeah.
Level the playing field, level the playing field.
Free markets.
Let's do that. Let's give that 50-mile ring, 100-mile ring, whatever you want to do. Give every business in there the exact same tax break.
Right.
But for some reason, that doesn't make sense to them.
Yeah.
Only the big business with the lobbyists makes sense.
Right. Well, and I mean, as conservatives, we believe in free markets, and free markets mean that you're not picking the winners and losers. You're not giving one guy more money over the other. And I mean, it just blows my mind. I support free markets for small businesses or big businesses. I don't think we should give small businesses any breaks that we don't give big businesses. Let's put it all on a level playing field, give them all low taxes, give them all, less regulations, less red tape, and let them fight it out, duke it out. And the market will select who will win and who will lose. Politicians shouldn't do that. But this is so counter to conservative policy or the Republican platform in believing in free markets. It's so counter to that. It's crazy, but our leaders have been for the last few months doing backroom deals, with this big company, haven't told anybody about it. The rank and file members of the legislature don't know about it. The public certainly don't know about it, but they've been making these backroom deals, and they have finally come to they have made the deal. They finalized it all, and now they're going to rush in at the last minute and tell you, don't ask questions, don't worry about it, just do what we say. This is good for the economy of Mississippi. And then next year, when they run for re-election, we won't have any economic numbers back yet because it's already a done deal, but we won't have it back in time for election season next year to say, hey, this was a terrible deal, like so many other handouts the government has given in Mississippi to businesses who have failed and left the taxpayer holding the bag. That's happened numerous times over and over again. We've given big businesses money and then they flunk out on us. But by next year, we won't have those numbers in to see whether it's going to be a good deal or not. But every politician that votes for this is going to run on the platform of, I voted in the biggest economic development project in Mississippi's history. We brought in a $2.5 billion, business and renovation or expansion, whatever it's going to be, for this company. And we brought in 1,000 jobs. They're all going to run on re-election next year saying that like it's a great thing. But what they're not going to say is, but it costs you, the taxpayer of Mississippi, $240 million to do that.
Yeah. And you talk about bringing in the jobs and driving in. I drive past the Nissan plant, and that's the one that's supposed to be heralded as that is the model. That's what we all look to. But the key thing that I saw, and this was researched by the Mississippi State University research, economics, they brought in Harvard economics people and looked at it, is that the key thing that finally just kind of made everything click for me, that this is not economic, that it's economic development, but it's not economic growth,
right?
Is that in the years after the Nissan plant, all that money we piled in there, they're supposed to bring in 6,500 jobs. Employment rates did not change for years afterwards in the Madison County area. So it didn't bring in new employees. What it did was suck the employees from the local businesses that now then had to pay more, had to go outside, had to move, had to do whatever in order to maintain their business. So, if it really is what they say, that Nissan brought in 6,500 new employees, then the employment numbers and the unemployment numbers go down. Employment numbers would skyrocket for the next few years until everybody else caught up. But it doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
So that's proof that this idea that just counting the number of jobs they say they're going to produce is not really producing economic growth.
Yep. And that report you guys have posted on the Mississippi Freedom Caucus website, freedomcaucus.ms. I've seen it there. You can look at it. Another good report that I've shared a couple of times on my social media is Mississippi Center for Public Policy. Back in 2018, the then CEO, John Pritchett, who has since moved on from the center, but at the time he wrote an article called Mississippi Needs Economic Growth, Not Economic Development. He basically outlines everything that is so pertinent to this fight and argument right now, in saying economic development that is taxpayer funded is never a good deal for the state or for taxpayers, and all the sideline issues that come from that, the collateral damage that come from that. So it's a great article. You can go look at it. Again, it's Mississippi Needs Economic Growth, Not Economic Development. Exactly. Because that's so true. That's exactly right.
And you can't tell somebody that they're against economic growth just because they're against giving away money. That's
right.
Now, if you were to come and give my family a whole bunch of money, give me several $1 million, there will be economic growth right there within a few miles of where I live.
Right.
Because I'm going to spend that money. But that's not real growth. That's just government pumping in money. We've looked at in some of this same research, We talk about, call it helicopter money, where the government just comes in and drops money.
Yep.
And never in the history of the US and all that their research has that ever produced sustainable economic growth. All of a sudden, there's a huge spurt of growth, but it never is sustainable.
Yep.
So we're not going to produce sustainable economic growth for Mississippi this way until we change this policy, which we invented in 1936. And actually in 1940, Mississippi said, oh no, this is bad. So Mississippi abandoned that policy. And then years later, other states started, and then a bunch of politicians figured out how to manipulate it, and we started it back again. We've already tried this. 1936, we invented it. We tried it. In about 5 years, we said, doesn't work, bad idea. Let's abandon this. But now some reason we're back at it again.
Yeah. So instead of playing, so the lottery is up to $1 billion. Instead of playing the lottery and being, one of 100 million, chances of winning, the better goal is just get to know your politicians, get in good with them, and they'll write you a check for $240 million. And I've seen the memes, the funny memes that says, I won't tell you if I win the lottery, but you'll know. And it'll have some guy, with something crazy, a crazy truck or something. Well, that's how it is. You can't pump $240 million into a big business in Mississippi and not expect that there will be some economic growth from that. But if you compare that to the amount of money that you're drawing from all other places in Mississippi, if you do the economic analysis on it, it is a bad deal and it never works out. And we have a chance that the company may fail, like has been done in the past. Mississippi's given away millions and millions to companies, and they have failed. And when they fail, we're left holding the bag.
There's even rumors, this is all rumors because we don't have any details, that one of the partners in this is from Michigan and has already defaulted on some economic development money
That's
from
right.
Michigan.
Yep.
I mean, so, at least give me the opportunity to know that
Right.
before you give away the money and ask for my vote to approve this. Okay, maybe that's not true because again, it's just rumors from the press. I mean, whether we trust them or not, it depends. But we should have the facts. The people of Mississippi should have the facts before their representatives are asked to make a vote, yes or no. Is this true? Did they default on payments?
Yeah.
If that's the truth, maybe they're not the one to give the money to.
Right. Yeah. So it's funny. I saw one of the news articles said, a strange mix of people protesting this. And it was, a lot of Democrats were protesting it. Because they weren't included in the early talks about this either. It was just the Republican leadership. So they're all mad about it. And then the Mississippi Freedom Caucus. So they were saying it was an odd mix of people protesting it, but it's basically the Democrats and then the members, the Republican legislators who aren't just going to sit back and do it. Their leadership tells them to. It's people that are, actually interested in the process that we have as a republic, meaning you as a representative go and represent the people that you were voted into, and you should do good by them, your voters, not leadership. So when you go in, you need to read a bill, you need to vote on it based on your values and your constituents, not what leadership tells you to do. And so that's why Mississippi Freedom Caucus and the Democrats have had this, not that you guys are working together, but you're the only ones who have been vocal against this right now because the rank and file Republicans, the ones who just follow leadership no matter what they're told to do, they're not concerned about it. They're going to show up, vote, get their day's pay and go home.
And I don't know any representative, any senator who campaigned on the idea of you elect me and I'll go to Jackson and I'll vote however the leadership tells me to vote.
Yep.
That's not a campaign speech, not one that's going to win.
Right.
But then that's what they tell us we are supposed to do when you get here. So the Freedom Caucus has said we're not doing it.
Yeah,
we're
that's
just
right.
not going to do that.
Well, again, for the people who are at home, maybe listening or watching later, if economic development projects where they're giving millions of your tax dollars to this out-of-state billion-dollar corporation, if that doesn't make you mad, you should be mad at the way they're shoving this process. They're suspending rules to do this. They're basically saying, hey, do what we're telling you to do. Don't worry about reading the bill. Just vote how we tell you to vote. Everybody should be mad at that no matter what. Even if you're okay with them giving away your tax dollars and corporate welfare, if you support that, that's fine. You should still be mad at the process because you have not been allowed to even look at the bill before you're going to be asked to vote for it. And that's just, completely corrupts our entire system of government as a republic.
Yeah, and most people are mad about that.
Yeah.
Most people know that this is not the way to run government,
Yep.
and that's why we are all very comfortable in our position on this. Is that there's nobody in leadership's going to come out and say this is the way it's supposed to work. They're just not going to say that.
Yep.
So we're comfortable in our position,
Good.
and we're going to keep fighting for the people to have at least to know what's going on.
Yep. Well, good. Well, we're running up on it. I know you're about to walk over to the Capitol right now and get ready for this fight that's going to come up. I think it's going to be a quick one. Leadership is going to try to, as much as they can, keep anybody from actually speaking on this and speaking their mind and asking to be able to read the bill. They're going to try to throw you in and make you vote as quickly as they can. So there's not a whole lot of dissent in this, but certainly appreciate you coming on and telling everybody. You got any last minute statements before we go?
Yeah, just watch what's going on. Freedomcaucus.ms. You can go there and subscribe to our newsletter. We'll send out updates throughout the day of what's going on. You'll know what the news seems to be reading it. So go to that freedomcaucus.ms and sign up, and we'll tell you exactly what's happening.
Yep. And you can actually go there too to the Action Center, freedomcaucus.ms Action Center, and you have an action set up for this specifically that basically sends out an email. You just fill in your name and information. It sends out an email and just says, hey, we don't agree with this process. Give us more time to review this. Give us more time. Don't rush us in there. And when you hit that, send, it sends it to your representative and your senator and also to leadership. So it lets them know the constituents are not happy with the way they're doing these things, backroom deals like we've always done in Mississippi.
And we've had hundreds already do that this morning. So your email does count. They do look at that.
Yep. All right. Well, great. Well, thank you so much again for everybody watching and commenting. We appreciate you tuning in. If you're watching this later, it's not too late. Send them an email. Tell them that you're not happy about this. If it's after the vote has already been made, send them an email and tell them you're unhappy if they vote for it. This is absolutely ridiculous. And this is a sham of our government and the republic that we live in. With that, we are out. Thank you so much for watching. God bless.